the Ice Rod. You can get it in Phase 1 of the game. And here's what happens if you go into the Sanctuary while it's raining, but you don't have Zelda. He talks as if everything's normal and you've already rescued Zelda. And you can get a heart container with no consequence. And even if you go into it this way, nothing will happen. Yeah, and I love how glitchy the Zelda looks. Basically what I'm doing here is trying to get as many items as I possibly can in the game, in Phase 1 of the game. I can't get all of them. There are certain items that it's impossible to get in Phase 1, especially for me. It's not because of a lack of skill, it's more because I just have no idea how to do it. Again, I have no idea how people get the magic mirror in Phase 1 of the game, because every time I try, a glitch happens. And oh yeah, that's a room I forgot to show off. A lot of this stuff, the glitches, and again, you can use the Pegasus boots instead of the hookshot, and as a result, you can get Canyon Samaria in this phase of the game. And there's a moving wall in this dungeon, and because of that, you can get this item. Yeah, because Hyrule Castle is not supposed to have anything fall from the sky, the Aether Medallion falls, because I guess it's because it's the first medallion program, because they expected you to get the Aether Medallion first, somehow. Even though it's probably the second one you're going to get, or the third one even, because the Aether Medallion's location to get it is so out of the way. Like, you might not even find out about it until a lot later. But basically, the Aether Medallion is another thing that falls from the sky. So, as a result, it falls from the sky because there's no pendant programmed to fall from the sky in Hyrule Castle. And there's no crystal either. And I hate these things so much. Again, you get bounced back when you hit them. And not only do you get bounced back, but you get bounced south as well. So you can easily get bounced into a pit. And when you enter this place by screen wrapping, going from the western side of the underworld to the eastern side, by going west, then there's no switches in this dungeon at all. And so you can't get past the blocks. And not only that, but the arrows, see those arrows there? You can't jump on them. You can't use them to jump if you enter this dungeon wrong. You have to enter it so that there's still switches there. So I recommend against, even though you can go to the eastern part of the underworld by going west, I don't recommend it. Because it removes stuff that's in the dungeon for some reason. I'm not really sure why, it just does. And basically what I'm doing is trying to show off me getting as many items early as possible. And again, there are certain items that you just can't get. An item that I didn't get was Painted Fire Nut. But it is, oh yeah, if you attack the thing guarding the gate to, again, power with the hammer, then you'll still get electrocuted. Oh yeah, that's a legitimate way to fight the ball and chain soldier, but why would you fight it like that? Why? No, stop. So I always just throw pots at it. And if you rescue Zelda, then when you save and quit, you're always going to start at her cell. And if you get a game over, you'll always start at her cell. Which means that if you get a game over in the underworld, you'll start at her cell. Although, if you don't rescue Zelda, then when you get a game over, you'll always start at the place where your uncle died. So either way, it's not a big deal. The only downside to having Zelda with you is that the old man doesn't appear. Yeah, you can potentially get the crystal from that boss. You can beat that boss in phase 1 of the game. I just didn't bother because I didn't have very many heart containers, and I didn't feel like getting berries. And the Dark World is so much harder than the Light World as it is. But yeah, I have no idea why that happens. And there's not a moving wall in this dungeon at all, so I'm not really sure why that happens. I mean, I know there's a conveyor belt there, but there's plenty of rooms with conveyor belts in this game. And see what I mean about the Dark World being so much harder than the Light World? Even with the amount of heart containers that I have, which is massive for phase 1 of the game, even with the amount of heart containers I have, you can still very easily get a game over in the Dark World dungeons. And here's the point where I knew that I was screwed. I knew that I would get killed. I tried to turn around and hit him, but he didn't turn around fast enough, and so I died, and then I started back in Hyrule Castle. Yeah, you can get the blue mail before saving Zelda. Unfortunately, I don't quite remember if you can exit Ice Palace and then enter it normally. Because you need to enter a dungeon normally in order to get its crystal to fall after you beat the boss. And you really don't want to have the game confused and not drop anything after you beat a boss in the Dark World dungeon. Because after you beat a boss in Dark World dungeon, you're not allowed to pause the game. Which means that you're trapped there, and all of your save progress is lost. Well, your save file doesn't get literally deleted, because that would suck. But you basically have to. And yep, this room is incredibly difficult, and incredibly difficult at this point in the game. And here's what happens if you walk to the north in the sanctuary when you have Zelda following you phase 1 of the game. She stops in the wrong place, but it still goes on to phase 2 of the game as normal. So you don't want to do that. Yeah, you can actually get the Cane of Farna at this point in the game. At least I think you can, if you have enough berries and you have enough parts going into the cave, but I didn't feel like it. I mean, I can't get the Titan's mitts. I mean, no, I think I can. And yeah, isn't it weird? Why are there sprites there? I mean, they don't act anything like the Zoras at all. And the Zoras themselves are not there, because naturally, all of the Light World sprites aren't there in phase 1 of the game. So why are there different sprites in phase 1 of the game? Why are there any sprites at all? Like, what are those massive enemies supposed to be? A beta version? Are they supposed to be the cannon shooting enemies that were blocked out? But yeah, and it's weird how the rupee throwing guys still appear in phase 1 of the game. I guess they're just a naturally, inherently programmed part of the overworld. As opposed to, oh yeah, these guys look really weird. Again, they're trying to give different colors than was intended for these enemies. Yeah, and the sprite that allows you to pull this thing off is the Dark World sprite. So you can't enter that dungeon normally. Yeah, and you can actually dash up to him and talk to him from the right side, although it's very tricky. And you can't enter Thieves' Town normally in phase 1 of the game because of this. And yeah, when you enter the map screen, then it causes the rain to appear again. It's weird how the door has its own graphic for being locked in that context, even though it's in the Dark World. You wouldn't expect it to have a door graphic for it at all. And just like when you make the regular cookies swarm you, these ones swarm you as well, and you can pick them up when they're swarming you. But yeah, you need to enter dungeons normally in order for the game to recognize that you're actually in them, and thus react normally when you're in them. Oh, this should be really easy. Nope. I think you can get the Titan's mitts at this point in the game, because nothing should be stopping you. I mean, you have the hammer, and you probably have the power glove too. So I don't know why I didn't get them. And it's weird how yeah, like everything looks so weird because it's using the wrong colors. And look! You thought that heart piece never showed up? Well, here it is. And even though you can't get the flippers in phase 1 of the game, you can still get it. It's really convenient how you can just hop into the water and you can still get the heart pieces, even though you just got it by hopping into the water. Yeah, it's weird. The flute is still there, even though I guess it's an inherent program part of the overworld, rather than being a sprite that is unloaded during phase 1 of the game. So you can still dig up the flute, and you can still make the flute work, even in phase 1 of the game, because it's an inherently programmed part of the overworld, regardless of what phase of the game you're in. And this is huge, because this means that you can teleport in the overworld during phase 1 of the game. So technically, no longer do you have to use the walk through walls glitch to wander around any part of the overworld that you want under the rain. I mean, you might think that getting the power gloves cause endless possibilities for you. You might think that getting the power gloves let you do whatever you want in the overworld too. But after you've gotten the sword, then it is impossible for you to backtrack to the point where you can talk to the soldiers that give you tutorial messages normally. Because when you fall into that hole where you meet your uncle, that's a point of no return. And because there's a tutorial soldier blocking your way, I mean, normally when you go past that tutorial soldier, you can go down and you can jump down from there. Like, see, above me? You can jump down from there. Or you would be able to, but there's a tutorial soldier blocking the way. So if he wasn't blocking the way, then just having the power gloves would be enough to let you go through anywhere in the overworld you want. But because of that, you need the flute. Like, I just love having the flute at this point in the game. Yeah, it's really difficult to get the red mail because you had such little health. Here's what he says. I think I forgot to show off what he says. So there you go. And as you can see, I've gone past phase 1 of the game. And so I haven't gotten all of the items that I can potentially get. So I'm a little ashamed of this glitch one as a result. But trust me, you can get the blue mail, you can get the red mail. There are certain crystals that you can get. Like, you can actually get the... Oh yeah, here's what happens when you lie to the Great Fairy. She doesn't upgrade it. And you have a 2-frame window for activating this glitch. Use the magic mirror and jump at the same time. And you'll start sliding down automatically. And you'll exit the dungeon. And now, the game thinks that you're in the upper level when you're not. This is a more complicated version of the save and quit glitch. You can walk through walls with this glitch too. And in the Game Boy Advance version, if you're in a dark room and you have the lantern, then you kind of get stuck in this room. I'm not really sure why, but I first found out about being able to do this when my dad brought home a paper telling you about glitches in this game. And I tried out that glitch, but because I tried out in the Game Boy Advance version, I didn't see much to it because I couldn't really progress from there. It hadn't occurred to me to try to go to the south from there. What I like to do in the Game Advance version is get to Thieves Town from the Eastern Palace by going to the right from there. because that's the easiest way to get to the dark world from the light world before getting the hammer. The annoying thing about the Game Boy Advance version is they removed the save and quit glitch. So now you can only walk through walls by using the mirror glitch. But the mirror glitch is a lot more reliable in the Game Boy Advance version because you don't have to be facing south when activating it for it to work. Because in this version of the game, you start sliding up automatically, and that can potentially screw you over. So it's best to activate it when you're facing south. And it sucks how you can't beat the game in an incredibly short amount of time in the Game Boy Advance version. Because you have to wait until you have the mirror in order to walk through walls in the Game Boy Advance version. And as a result, you can't do the glitch run that I did. And so there's a lot less of a motivation for me to play the Game Boy Advance version because you have to play it legitimately for at least most of it. For at least up to a certain point. Yeah, this glitch can be pretty hard to activate. Again, there are 2 frames when you can use it. It's not a frame perfect trick, but it's pretty close to that. So it's pretty difficult to get off successfully. What I recommend is try to use the mirror just after you jump. Don't try to use the mirror before you jump, because then you're probably going to use the mirror without jumping first. It means you're a lot more likely to jump when you don't want to, but it's worth it. Oh yeah, and I don't know why this happens. Again, there's no moving wall in this dungeon at all. So I don't know why there are certain walls that are programmed to be in the lower level. And something I haven't mentioned yet. When you scroll out of bounds in this game to the east, you reach the western side of Hyrule. And when you scroll out of bounds to the west, you reach the eastern side of Hyrule. So the world is round. And what I'm showing here is that you can enter a dungeon from a cave. And when you're in a cave, but you're in a dungeon, you have infinite keys, because the game is not programmed to have keys when you're in a dungeon. So it just defaults to having infinite keys as a result. And this is incredibly useful. I don't usually enter the Ice Palace using from a cave. In fact, the dungeon that you really should enter from a cave is this one. Behold, Ganon's Cave. Want to get 3 heart containers? Well, here you go. And you can get the red mail too. Yeah, it's really awesome how when you beat a light world boss in this dungeon, when the game thinks you're not in this dungeon, it drops a heart container as normal. You can get 3 heart containers this way, and that's pretty awesome. And this is great because whenever I play the Game Boy Advance version, whenever I play this game at all, I like to skip beating a Ganon for the first time because I hate how Kakarot villages changed after you do so. I hate how there's no longer any villagers wandering around in the overworld. There's no longer any villagers outside in Kakarot Village. It's just full of enemies, and it doesn't even play the town music anymore. So it doesn't feel like a Kakarot Village anymore. It doesn't feel like a village anymore, and I hate that. It feels less distinct. It feels like just a regular part of the overworld. And I don't even know what happened to those villagers. Did they die? Did they die and did they move? Where did they move to? So I feel like I killed off all those villagers when I beat Ganon first time. So I like to skip beating him whenever I play this game. But by skipping beating Ganon, it makes it impossible to get a certain heart piece by dashing into a tree. But I can easily make up for that lost heart piece by just doing this glitch and getting 3 heart containers. Which is overkill because, I mean, really all I need is 1. All I need is 1 heart container to make up for the lost heart piece, but whatever. And don't worry, there's not going to be a really bad glitch where if you collect a heart container when you already have full heart containers, something bad will happen. No. You won't get any more heart containers, but the game won't freeze or crash or anything like that. It's just that nothing will happen. There's actually a glitch you can do where you can enter the blacksmith shop when the game thinks you're in the dark world. And then the frog will appear here. And you can talk to him and make him follow you. And then you can go back into the blacksmith's when the game thinks you're in the light world, and then you can temper your sword in phase 1 of the game. I don't know how to do that though. And here's the dialogue I missed with Prell dying. I usually skip it because again it's too depressing, but yeah, you can temper your sword to level 3 from level 1, which is pretty awesome. And something I haven't mentioned yet is that if you bring the dwarf to the sanctuary in phase 1 of the game, then he turns into a headless Zelda, and he follows you around. And if you do the same, no, I don't think you can do the same with the treasure chest that follows you around, because I don't think it appears in phase 1 of the game. But if they bring that treasure chest to the sanctuary in phase 2 of the game, then it will turn into Headless Zelda, but it won't ever turn around, so it looks even creepier. And I think it even stops and makes Prell and Zelda go on and on and on, which is pretty weird. I don't think the treasure chest does that though. Anyways, more glitches will be coming soon, and the next glitches will be pretty dangerous, so watch out for that.